Hello, Shannon Mahoney. You're on mute.
I got two situations. Then, number one, if you join a call and you're on mute, you got to do a dance move. So, I'm going to do a little hustle. But then, secondly, look at this. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You see how you just can see the reflection of my glasses, and that's it. So, I have to look like this, or I have to look like this. Like, don't look like this. So then I'm like,
Maybe let's both take our glasses off and then we'll just pretend that we can actually like focus and see.
no, no, you keep your glasses on. I just wanted to share with you that you occasionally just see a prop in my hand, and I'll start to want to put the glasses on, and then I'm going to shake my head at myself, which is my own reminder. Glasses down, Mahoney, glasses down.
Yeah, I may have to put mine on because it's been a day, so I want to be able to like see what your face is. Otherwise, I'll just be guessing.
I think this is right. Also, too, you may notice I'm a little blurred out behind me, which is for the best because what's behind me is chaotic. So I am a party. Look at I'm this party.
It's great to see you.
I'm a Miley Cyrus song. I'm a party in the USA right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love
I
that.
like it. Party in the USA.
Yeah, the producer will, oh, she probably won't give it to us because last time we had music,
Nope.
it
I didn't.
it
If I
was
sang that
copyrighted.
song, I
Is that
meant,
right, producer? No music, huh? I can't play that on YouTube. No, can't play it on YouTube.
well, I will
Well,
tribute
we
Miley Cyrus as being the singer of Party in the USA, but we will not be playing Party in the USA.
exactly, but we feel the vibe of it.
We feel the vibe of putting our hands up.
Hmm.
Well, do you want to dive in and tell us why you've already had a day, or you're like, slow your roll? That's not where we're headed.
Well, I'll tell you that this morning I participated in a walk for hope for cancer
Mm.
at the City of Hope, which was wonderful because I walked in honor of you and Lisa and Dee Dee and in honor of my mom and my dad and Melissa Burgess. And it was just quite an emotional experience. Yeah, I felt very emotional all day about it.
I mean, what an incredible walk. But I also imagine that being surrounded by all those people too was incredibly uplifting. But also too a moment of like you're a cheerleader, you are cheering on, and then you're also filled with memories of those people that you love so much, which is just a big place to be.
Yes, and beautifully, there were so many people there, and we walked along the City of Hope, and we walked in front of the building, and then you looked up, and all of the people that were currently on treatment were waving in the windows. Oh,
What?
yes, it was just I was like, and then thinking of you and Lisa and Dee Dee who had are survivors and seeing the survivors had the purple banners and so you could see them, but then you see all of the sea of people in memory of or walking for or the some people had long lists of people they were walking for, some had little lists, and it just made me feel that my grief I always carry right beneath the surface, but it's hidden in a place. But my grief recognizes other people's grief and it shines. And when it shines, it feels uncontrollable. And so it just felt such a powerful reminder of how even when you repress it and keep it quiet, it bubbles there. But when you're connected with other people that experienced or are experiencing that same powerful transformation, it connects you. It's like that the cost of love, right? The grief is the part of love. The you have to get to the dark to see the light, like the how we're all connected. And that I don't know, it's probably healthy for me to go there because I think I mask away my grief a lot. I think a lot of people do, and it just felt uncontainable in that moment. So in my homework of putting myself first, the compassionate part of me just felt it and didn't judge it. And yeah, so I kind of sat in it all day long.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this was where we were planning on heading, but I wanted to share a thought that I had yesterday. I was struck by yesterday how, I was thinking about end of life or if we got close. And of course, we never know that last day, that last moment. And you and I have talked about that privately about like, if you knew this was the last time your child would hold your hand, right, to go to school, you don't know when it's going to be the last day they hold your hand. And then they they just stop. They grow up, they get too big, and they just don't anymore. Or the last time they look back and they wave at you, right? You don't know when your last one is going to be. Otherwise, maybe we would do big dramatic monologues. And he'd say, I didn't know this was the last time I would go to the beach or whatever. And I was struck by the idea of like, I hope that my children, you, those that matter so much to me, are not afraid in their last moment for me. But I hope that I am, that they can smile and hold on to me as they pass over and that they are not like, oh gosh, I have to hold on a little bit longer because Shannon's not going to be okay. But that they go, this is it. And they smile and they think, Shannon is there with me every single minute and I and they see that as a light. And I think about you and I started thinking about that, like of being like that light for people, which is a hard place to be. And it is not normal, it is not comfortable. I don't think it'll be ever normal for any of us, but being that light for somebody, and if we're lucky enough for our faces to be one of the last faces that they remember, that they think, we are a hug, we are a kiss, we are an embrace as they go over that bridge, and that they don't worry and go, oh, I needed to say one more thing to her. So I hope that we can all be that and worked on that every single day. So I started thinking about that of like, that's why it's so important, friends, to say, like, to tell everybody you love them and to look at them really hard. I had my mom and my sister visit last weekend, and I stared at them so hard. It never mattered so much as it did last weekend. Like I looked at both of them and I was like, I love you. And I was like, before we get in this car, because once we get to the airport, it just starts going. And then we're saying bye real fast. I was like, I'm going to look at you right now and know that I love you so much. So I love that you walked for everybody today and that you smiled and you waved and you were brave and you cried, reminding everyone that it's just like that's what we want our last moments to be, are these brave moments. Even if your last moment is this is my last chemo treatment. This is my last time that I'm ringing this darn bell and I am walking out of here.
Yes, my mama was never so proud as when she rang that bell. She rang it long and hard.
My mom too, maybe a little too long.
Well
Uh,
deserved. That's beautiful, my friend. Thank you for sharing that.
Good stuff. Which I was thinking, so uh, so I was thinking, Jen, you have been very beautiful in reminding me who sits at my table. Who do I have at my table? Remember that I was having a pity party of team. I was feeling super sad for myself, and I was like crying. And I was like, "There's nobody at my table." And then I was like, "Okay, Jen's at my table, and Kirk's at my table, and that's my husband." And uh, and then I was like, "Okay, these people are at my table." But then it struck me like, Jen, these aren't the only people who are sitting at our tables, right? Like we got some people. I think we've also got the spirit sitting at our table. I was like, I don't want to discount them, right? Like my grandpa is at my table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like your mama is at your table. You just try to tell Susan Laurie that she doesn't get to sit at her daughter's table. She'll be like, I'll tell you, I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting on the table if you need me to.
She
So
pushes
I was thinking
around.
about that, but I was like, don't think that it's just a few people are sitting at your table. It's like you got a lot of people sitting at our tables that are like maybe they passed over, but they're at the table now.
Yes, I feel that's so true. Like I do feel very protected and I think that that might be the difference for me is I always had all those people at my table, but now that they're not at my table anymore, I'm the head of that table. And I'm not quite sure what to do at the head of the table because usually I managed all the people around that table that are now powerful forces pushing that table around. So I'm trying to figure out my spot at the table.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing to think about. So you could manage their tables because if we each have our own table, you'd go over and manage their table. You'd leave your own damn table and you'd go, oh, you're like, my table's okay. Shannon's at my table. She'll be okay. She'll entertain some folks for a minute because I got to go check on Mama's table and I've got to go check on Melissa's table and I got to go check on a few folks' table. And you want to go, okay, okay. You don't need to leave your table. They're at your table.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Sovereignty in this season of my life is okay. All those people are in a different form now. I'm sovereign at my table. What does
Yeah.
Teresa even want or need? She's not even sure because she used to ask everybody else
Mm.
or be in everybody else's table. She's not quite sure what hers even exists of.
So I've been thinking a lot about that. I, I think I was really only thinking about who immediately in front of me was at the table, thinking about who doesn't belong at my table, or, you know, I keep holding spaces maybe for people who don't. And by that, I think I just want to clarify to everybody else. So we're talking about like who's your tribe, right? Like we all want to sit, metaphorically speaking, you have like this great grand table and you sit at a table and there might be some of you thinking like, I'm not sitting at any table. Nobody's at my table. I don't have a support system. Or you're like, I don't even sit at the table. I don't even have a chair. I'm off to the side. And I think the producer's going to get mad at me, but they're going to fix it for me. I think it was the woman who, oh, sorry, producer. She, uh, she was head of like Google, and she wrote this book about, make sure you know where the seat is. Um, and when you're sitting at your table, are you so busy making sure that everyone else has a seat that you're like, oh no, 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 you can have my seat. I'll stand over there. I'll stand over there. You know, it's okay. I'll stand over there. And you're like, if you keep giving up the seat, and women do this, we keep giving up our seat, and then we're standing off to the side, or there's not enough room. So I'll go stand in the other room. It's okay. I'll just listen real hard. So we keep giving up our seat, our powerful seat. And then we don't realize that we've got so many amazing humans in our life that are sitting at the table with us,
Mhm.
or we keep inviting assholes, jerks, people that don't belong, or we keep holding a space for them. They're not coming. They don't care, right? So who's sitting at your beautiful table? And I referenced it already. One day I was having a really hard day and I was crying and I was like, there is nobody at my table. And then I thought, yes, there is. Jennifer is sitting at my table. She'll sit to the left of you or to the right of you. She'll sit right there.
Mhm.
And then I started to calm down a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, one more person's at my table. And then I started to realize how big my table was. But then I've been thinking that I've been limiting myself and thinking that it's not just people in my life, but I think I don't want to discount the amazing people who have passed on that were such amazing people in my life. And it's like, I still want them at the table.
Mhm.
I still want them there supporting me, cheering me on. I use their wisdom every day. I
Mhm.
hear their words every day. They walk with me every day. They get to sit at, let's keep them at our table, Jen.
Oh, I couldn't remove my mom and dad or Melissa Burgess at my table if I tried.
No, absolutely not. And you don't want to, right?
No.
Their humor, their
As
everything.
who are the people you're willing to let in? Like the people that you're really to show your true authentic self.
So making sure we have the right people at our table,
Mhm.
making sure we're not holding space for anybody who doesn't belong there. And then we're also not discounting or thinking that we're not limiting our table size. There's many people as you want can be there.
Yes. You would have lots of people in the room at your room, but not at your table.
Oh, that's very true.
I think I would be the exact same way. I would have lots of people in the room, but
Mhm.
not quite at my table.
I continue to be surprised about the people who keep showing up at my table. Like, I don't think I always believe that I deserve all of these great people.
Mhm.
And that is, I don't know if that's relatable to anybody else, but like sometimes I think I'm like somebody will show up for me and I'm like, well, maybe they don't know me. If they knew me, they wouldn't be showing up, right? Which is like, why do I do that?
Mhm.
So I might as well just give them a chair because they keep freaking showing up.
Mhm.
Those people who keep showing up, give them a chair. They're coming. They're there every single time.
They're waiting for you to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Makes me think of thumbtacks. You not putting anything on your walls and me putting everything up with thumbtacks, not the actual like nails.
Yeah.
Since the Great Flood, the last Great Flood, and we had to take everything down, everything now is put up with actual like picture hangers.
Okay.
Well, producers, everything up with, I don't think we have anything really up with thumbtacks anymore, do we? I might have a few thumbtacks in my. Okay, we're working on that. But for
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay.
most part, that's huge for me.
Well, let's take a step back and explain to everyone why this is even like let's just take one step back and go, okay, so you can't see, you're blurred out behind me, but if you notice there is one thing on the wall behind me, like there's a little bit more when I unblur my this is a big deal. So for years, and I don't mean like for years. I mean like 4 years underlined in bold. Think like 15 years. I lived in a house and I didn't have anything on the wall but like two pictures. And I finally put a picture up and I called Jen and I said, I think my marriage is gonna make it. I put up a picture, like a real picture, not just of the kids. And she was like, ah, gotcha. And then in Jen's other side, Jen's talking about those thumbtacks. We're like, nothing's really up. It could be torn down in a second. So
Right.
her walls are covered, but she's like, okay, I've got.
I'm not sure if I like it there, so I'm just gonna put a little thumbtack here and hang it up and wait and see how it feels.
Not too permanent, folks. Not too permanent. Let's not get crazy. We're not insane. We're ready at a moment's notice.
Now,
Yeah.
look at us now.
We may have had a few abandonment issues, team. We may have been ready. Like I was ready. Like I was like, you need me to pack up right now? I'm ready.
Yes.
I would do that even at work. Like, remember, I would have an office at work and everybody would decorate their cubicle. And I'd be like, no, if they ask me to not come back tomorrow, I'll be like, okay, that's fine. Let me just take my notebook.
Yes. You're ready to leave in no time flat. Just the
I'm ready.
hmm
I'm ready. I am not. So I'm getting more and more permanent with my, I'm growing more and more roots
hmm
and starting to realize that I can handle it if if somebody tells me to leave, but even more so that I am prepared to leave myself because I want to, not because somebody's asking me to leave. That's a very important distinction.
I I think for me it's along the same thing. It's like, okay, we're gonna remove everything from your life so that you could actually like stand alone and so that you don't interfere in anybody else's stuff. You are forced to stand alone. Now, figure it out. And I'm figuring it out. It is quite empowering. Like I can't even remember the last time I have really like spent this much time alone. But I don't think of it as loneliness. I think of it as I'm actually like thriving in my independence. And it is so like I don't have to answer to anyone. Like I do exactly what I want. And if it's a no, then it's a no. It's not like, oh, I'm worried or justify. I'm like, no. If I start to justify, then I know that I'm worried about external factors and not in my sovereignty. So I'm going to sit right back, go within, and see what I want. If I'm searching for someone else's opinion, you got to look in that mirror because you're in the wrong path, my friend. And that is quite like empowering. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I no longer feel that boundness. Like, I feel strength in the independence that I'm in right now. I love it.
Man, that's a tough one. I think I've said that to you before about like, whatever you're dealing with, when you have to call everyone up and tell them what happened, right? Can you believe this? They call, they called me up and they asked me this, and I was like, are you kidding? Let me tell you what they said. And then you can call somebody else up and go, oh, so I had a situation today. Let me tell you what they said. And then I said, let me tell you what I said. I better call one more person. And each person goes, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Or, oh my gosh, no, they didn't. Yeah, they did. And so now you're picking up you're like, I cherry picked you. Everybody's telling me I am justified in feeling this way. I better get one more justification. Let me call one more friend. Let me call one more. In fact, I don't need to call a close friend because they'll call me on my shit. Let me call another person, right? That's that when you find yourself doing that, it's that moment of like you just said, that hit that pause button going, mm-hmm. Who are we? Why do we need all of this justification that we are making the right decision?
Yes. If you're justifying it, then you're not making the right decision. That's what I feel. If you can't like sit on the decision you make yourself, if you have to ask somebody else, then that's your sign right there. It's a hard one though, because we like to be validated, but often when we look for other people's validation, it's something we're avoiding. And then we get wrapped up in someone else's story of it and it adds to ours and
I am living in this right now. I even am trying not to tell you about it.
what is it?
Oh, ready? Okay. So at work, we all are assigned somebody to 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 they work with us on X, whatever that is. There's only five things to choose from. One of them is communication. One of them is work-life balance. One of them is so you meet with them. I don't want to meet with them. I and and they want me to write down
Why don't
what
you
my
want to meet with them?
communication has been and what are my communication challenges. There's like 10 questions. And I'm supposed to meet with them on Tuesday. For the last 3 weeks, I have been trying to fill out this form. I cannot fill out this form. I
What's getting
cannot.
in your way?
I don't want to. And I keep trying to figure out like what am I like why does this form make me so upset? Because what am I avoiding? So if I call Jen and I say to her, wow, can you believe that? I'm validated, right? I told a stranger about this yesterday, a stranger in a coffee shop. I was like, can you believe this? And they're like, I can't believe it. Like, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fill out this form. But what matters is not me filling out the form or not yes or no. Why am I having such a reaction about this?
Why?
Why am I so focused on this?
What? I want to know why.
I think I'm still working out the way I want to communicate. And I think by putting it in writing and submitting it, it feels permanent. And I'm still working it out. And so if I write it down, then I feel like it becomes recorded in a professional work environment, which is what I don't feel comfortable with. I feel comfortable about it here. I feel comfortable with you. I feel comfortable with my people who sit at my table. But to put it in writing in a professional environment feels,
You distrust it.
I just don't, I feel like I could talk about it, but to write it down makes it permanent. And I'm not sure I feel permanent about it. I don't know if I think
Worst
that I'm
thing
getting
that could
closer
happen.
to it.
What is the worst thing that could happen if you wrote it down and it was permanent? That in that snapshot in time you communicated this way. Like what is the worst thing that could happen?
Well, the worst case would be that it goes on my permanent work record. Like it goes into my file, and that feels like putting a picture on my wall.
Okay, let me back up for just a moment and ask you what what is your communication style right now?
I feel like a verbal conversation is appropriate. I feel like I feel comfortable with that.
And so, well, if you were to, discuss your strengths of your communication and your areas of improvement right now, what would that be?
And that I'm not even sure. But I think what I'm looking for in this scenario is help improving my communication skills. And I'm interested in that. So as I'm in my quest and in searching for being a better communicator, I don't want to I want to practice what communication looks like. I don't want to write it down for somebody else to analyze and then I guess have AI generate their thoughts back to me.
You feel judged by having to write what you think you need to work on.
I think so.
Mhm.
So I think I don't think I need to communicate to this person because that's what I'm working on is to say this communication is not my preferred way of communicating. I'd like to have a conversation with you, but I don't want to write down,
Mhm.
I don't want to journal to you.
Yeah. In order for me to feel safe, I'd like to have a one-on-one conversation about areas in communication that I'd like to grow. That's your container of safety. That's what you're asking for. Those are your needs. That's perfectly fine. And you are okay. I do think that you probably have some blocks you need to get a little bit of coaching on as to why you have a suspicious mind and it goes into you're going to be recorded or not trust, there's some deeper things you got to work on there.
That is true. I
Understandable.
do have a suspicious mind.
You
I
have a
feel
that's a suspicious mind right now. Like they're going to take what I say, but you work in HR, so
I know that's
how do you not have a suspicious mind
right.
in
I think they
HR?
said to me, they were like, everything's confidential. I was like, no, it's not. I
But
work in HR. There's nothing that's confidential. And
that's
if
why I have
everybody
to be
thinks it is,
careful
it's
about
not.
watching too many of those documentaries or those crime things because then my suspicious mind will start to look for. Remember the
Yeah.
house on the corner that I swore was a documentary waiting to be waiting to happen? Like your mind will go that way.
Friends,
I think that is a valid thing to ask for.
thank you, honey. I appreciate you saying that. I wrote down what you said of like, in order for me to feel safe, I need to be in it. I need this to be a verbal conversation. And I also think it's okay for me to say, I don't think this is working for me.
Yeah.
This isn't maybe something I'm interested in.
No, that they're coaching you for value, that you're asking for what you need. That's putting yourself first and being at your table. Yet again, back to sovereignty. We're not asking other people for our opinions. You already know what you needed in that moment. So
Yeah, I agree.
quit avoiding the thing and just email and say, this is what I need from my coaching things. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, you'll feel
I
better.
agree. I agree. That's what I was gonna do. I was like, I just need to say, this is what I need from my coaching session. I'm not, this is what I need. I don't need to say, I'm not going to answer your 1 through 10 questions. I need to go, this is what I need from our coaching sessions. I look forward to discussing it on Tuesday.
Yeah. You like a verbal follow-up. That's good for coaches to know too.
But I also get that the written method works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I want to be clear with everyone that everybody has a different way that works for them. Some is a combination. Some people are like, I really am better at communicating if I can write it down and then we discuss what I wrote. I love that. I think each one of us has a way that works best for us.
Yes. You're just asking for a different accountability piece, right? The
Yep.
accountability piece is when you're filling out a form or you're asking for, and what could your accountability piece, like maybe you're sharing it with a friend or it doesn't have to be a email follow-up to your coach. It could be anything that, works for you. You're right.
Friends, I'm growing. It's hard for me. This has been a big deal. I had a conversation with a stranger at a coffee shop over this.
Those little things that you're avoiding, I'm avoiding a couple of things in my life and they start to eat at you and then you start to perseverate and then it feels like the avoidance gets so much bigger and it's like, you know what? If I just run straight to the fire and say it, then it's done, and then it's not so. Because the problem is, I will avoid it and avoid it and avoid it until right when I want to talk about it, it comes in the most inappropriate moment, and it comes like a whip energy. Like I'm like, what? And then
Yeah.
that person's like, oh my God, but they don't know that I've been a hurricane in
Oh, yeah.
for like 4 weeks about this.
Yeah. What they don't know is that I was walking down the street yesterday after leaving said coffee shop, and I was talking out loud to myself, and I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. Then this man looked back at me, and I'm sure he was like, what doesn't she want to do? What is her secret of what she doesn't want? And I was like, I'm whipping myself up. So to your point, then you talk, finally see that person and you're like, "Ugh," and then you just like explode onto them. You're like, you know what? I don't want to. And they're like, well, you didn't have to scream it at me. I would have been okay.
Yeah, they don't know that we have a wound of not sharing what we need or people pleasing. So we've had to work ourselves up to saying what we've needed for the past 48 hours. So when we get there, we're ragged, our hair's like, and we're like, this is what I need. And we look like a crazy person.
Yeah, yeah, we've made it large. Like we just shout it to the winds. We're ready. So Jen and I both went to graduate school, and part of what you would have to do before, and if we've shared this already, I apologize. So what you would do before acting class, you would lay on the ground. Yes, I'm not kidding. We would lay on the ground. You would lay on mats. The whole floor was covered in mats. They would all connect. And you would lay on the ground and you would and you would try to get to the core of your being, the core of who you were, so that before you could put on a character, you had to get back down to your raw self. And so you would have to dismantle yourself. So you have frustrations that day, you were mad that day, you were upset that day, whatever was in your mind, you had to purge it and then assemble your character. So you would hear people shouting, laying on their back, shaking their legs, pounding the mat. It was, think of like maybe what you would imagine a bunch of 3-year-olds doing in like a padded room, but there were like 12 of us.
Mhm. And there was a sentence frame. What, how do I feel? What am I thinking? How do I feel? What do
And
I,
what do I need?
what
I
do I,
think, I feel, I need. I feel, I need. And sometimes if you couldn't find anything, you just say, I think, I feel, I need. And then you would get to the root of it. But sometimes there were times where like I would be distracted maybe about what I was thinking about and what I would need. And then I would be like, I can't stop. I think I am thinking about the possum that's in the backyard. I am thinking about that possum. Where does the possum live? And then
me, I'm
Jen would
avoiding
start
at
to
that
giggle
time, and I'm
next to
like
me.
listening to what whomever over here thinks and feels and needs. I was avoiding back then. Jennifer's not focused on hers. She's listening to what this person thinks
And
and
I'm shouting, I need to know where the possums live. Which everybody else is shouting, like, I need contentment. I need hope. And I'm like, I need to know about the possums.
oh, there should have been sign for us back then.
Yeah, that's true. To be fair, everyone, in other parts of the country, possums aren't like they are in California, where they run along your fence or they run down the street at night. Like in Colorado, there are no possums like wandering in your backyard in the middle of the night. That is so the first time I saw that in California, like I couldn't fathom that. Like I was just taught that possums hang their tails upside down in a tree. So I was like, where are the possums sleeping after they run across the fence in the middle of the night?
I've
Like,
never seen a possum just hanging by its tail at all.
no, me neither, but
They're hissing, running on a fence.
yeah. But in Sesame Street, didn't they have them like P is for possum. And they'd show the possum hanging upside down, sleeping in the tree. I don't think they sleep in trees.
I think they cut the opossum out since it starts with the O, but everybody says possum. It's just too confusing.
It's too confusing. Oh, does possum start with the letter O?
Yes, it starts with
Oh,
O,
you're right, it does. Opossum.
but you
Thank
don't
you.
get the O is silent, I
Thank you,
think.
Jennifer. Thank you.
I'm not for sure. We'll get the producer to fact check that one.
Well, that's what the team is for. We're not going to look it up and aren't these fancy little things. Not today, not ever. We're
No.
basically the animal channel here. This is where we really we tell people about the spiders. We can tell you about a lot of things. It's all what we've created up here.
Uh-huh. You know
Mhm.
a lot about a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Whether you
Oh,
want it or
ish lot.
not. That should be our slogan. We know a lot about a lot and we'll help you whether you like it or not.
I feel like we could even turn that into a song. Like that's our rap. You know what I mean? We know a lot about a lot and we'll help you with a lot.
This is where you know you're starting to go downhill. We haven't even been drinking. This is
No,
what
honey, I'm drinking ice water.
I'm drinking 7 Up. No, there's a bottle shortage again. Just
You mean you're drinking water? That's what you have to say to yourself.
I did have a LMNT this morning.
What did you have?
That LMNT that you put in the water.
Yeah,
Fun.
the salty.
Mhm.
I had an airborne today. You know those vitamin C that try to keep you like healthy so you don't get sick. I'm in a play right now, and one of the actors is sick, so they brought in a an understudy, and so I was like, well, I better I better vitamin C boost myself hard so that I can make sure I'm staying strong.
Yes.
And then I walked around with a mask backstage too, because I was like, I just, you know, if somebody's going to get sick, they're not going to get sick for 3 days.
COVID's taught us a lot.
We have learned so much.
Probably should get some Naline nose spray. I'm channeling my mother right now. I can just you know how she felt about the saline nose spray when you to clear it out so you don't get sick or when you first get sick. So I do it every time now.
That's good, Jen. Do you feel like it
Well,
works?
yes, but we always, because my mom was always saving the ozone or some, I wonder why I'm an advocate because I grew up, but we weren't allowed to have hairspray, the aerosol hairspray. We had to have the pump hairspray back in the day. And when your hair was so high, the aerosol was key, but my mom did not want to make the ozone hole bigger. So we got the pump stuff. So we always got the pump saline spray. So this year I did get the aerosol one because I can't do the neti pot. The neti pot makes me gag every single time. I'm not good at it. I've tried. I'm not trying it anymore. So everybody can hold those comments. But I did the aerosol one and it shoots so high powered that it took me by surprise and it came out and then I squirted the chandelier in the front and then it got Dodger. But it was lovely too. I felt like it got all of that stuff out.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
I will have to think about that. I'm not even ready to commit to it. Did you see how clear I was with my language? I will have to think about that.
Hmm.
Not quite ready to commit to that. I want to, but I think the neti pot for me really messed me up because I couldn't figure out if I was under the neti pot, if I was above the neti pot, if I was hanging from the neti pot. Like I couldn't figure it out. But huge respect to anybody who has mastered the neti pot, and we appreciate that you have. It's I just have to really be clear and say that it is a challenge for me to walk down the street every day. So with that, if I can barely walk, then the neti pot gymnastics is a little bit above me. Like, and by a little bit, I mean like a lot.
I agree. It's too much. My mom always said, think about it before you do it. Think, could you possibly get hurt? If the answer is yes, don't do it.
If you could possibly get hurt. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much with that one. Could you possibly get hurt? The answer is always yes.
No, sometimes the answer is no, but I was always so klutzy growing up. I think I'm still klutzy. Remember, I have the bruise right here because I keep hitting my elbow like on every single day. You would think I'd learn. I
Oh,
can't. I'm walking around like this. I must be all day long. Just
just with your little chicken wing.
yeah.
Jen, so when you're backstage, there's all these curtains, so that then you open the curtain and then you go onto the stage. They kind of layer them up so the audience never sees, I don't know, what's happening backstage. So there's two curtains. So I try to go stay as close to the person in front of me so I can slide through they're holding the curtain open. And I try to go through fast enough so I don't get stuck in the curtain because it's really dark. It's dark back there. And so and then stage is where all the lights are. So I miss it and the curtain hits me in the face. I can't figure out how to get out of the curtain. Then I slam my head into like the side of the set, which is,
Oh,
not quite right. And I was like, then I walk on stage kind of like I had my hair blown back. And no wonder I can't remember my first line because I feel like I've just been in like a tunnel.
yes.
Crazy. And so I was like, hey, and they were like, you don't have to say anything because they have the infrared camera so they can see what's happened. So they've watched me go. They're like, you don't need to, mm, we don't need, you don't need to tell us what happened. We saw it. We all saw whatever that was. We'll hold the curtain for you going forward.
Well, I slipped and almost fell on during the walk today. Like, just I caught myself, and the lady behind me kind of pushed me forward. I was like, "Don't worry,
I'm good. Don't worry. I'm here.
at
I'm
least
really,
we're
really
all
good.
here." I mean, we're right at the hospital, so in a safe place.
It is a good, safe place. It's
Mhm.
a good, safe place. Well, should we wrap ourselves up a little bit?
Let's wrap it up, my friend.
Let's wrap it up, friends. So, we talked a lot today about who's sitting at your table,
Mhm.
and you can have anybody you want at your table. And when you think that maybe you don't have anybody at your table, which is fair, we've both been there where we think nobody is sitting at our table or everybody is left. I don't have anybody left at my table. That is not true. Absolutely not. That we all have a beautiful, amazing table. But I want you to think about who belongs at your table, who you keep making space for, and they're not showing up for you. They don't belong at your table. Only the very best at your table for yourself. Only people that are going to feed and grow you. Um, and then we talked about how Shannon has that continuing to work on if you have to keep justifying why something isn't quite right, like me engaging a stranger because I am frustrated with something. That probably is a big clue that you're justifying, and you got to dig into that a little bit more. You don't need to call anybody to justify anything. Empower yourself to make the decision. Afterwards, can you go, yeah, I just did a thing and I own it and I am proud of it and I want that for myself. So those are our focus this week. And then of course, not getting caught in curtains, slipping and falling in the middle of the street.
That's right. We're not going to wish away our present moment.
No, we are not. We are definitely not. And we also want to take a minute as we wrap up October to celebrate all of the amazing people in our life, who have been the warriors that have continued to fight cancer. We know that that is near and dear to so many of us, whether that is you fought the fight yourself, or you are the loved one, the caretaker that is supporting someone. They need you so, so very much. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, we should do a whole episode on caretaking.
I think we should.
We
I think
should.
we
I'll put
should.
that in the background.
Okay.
I love you, my friend.
I love you too.
See you later.
See you, honey.